For some reason, many historians, academics, and American political theorists leave out the state constitutions that existed prior to the Philadelphia Convention when researching the federal constitution. This is an academic error, given that many of the delegates to the Philadelphia, or Federal Convention, participated in their respective state constitutional conventions. The essential experience and all of the political concepts of statecraft which the Philadelphia delegates implemented into the federal constitution can be seen in those state constitutions. Their abilities to disquisition, to discuss, and to deliberate, developed from their prior experiences, were instituted into the Constitution, which means leaving out those state constitutions in your study will leave a serious gap in your knowledge on the subject. There were 11 state constitutions active among the several states that influenced the Philadelphia Constitutional Convention of 1787. Each constitution is summarized and organized into 3 parts. The first part covers the Constitution's preamble, if there is one. The second part describes the state governmental structure. The third part describes the relationship between the government and the people, mainly through a Bill of Rights, if there is one. The preamble sections are a piece of the overall picture to understand the intent of each document. The structure of government sections describe the offices, separation of powers, checks and balances, authorities, and terms within the state governments. The relationship between the government and the people sections describe the rights of individuals, whether or not slavery was legal and how it was regulated, and who had suffrage explicitly protected. The primary sources are the official constitutions created and ratified by each of the states respectively. 11 of the 13 states wrote their constitution after King George III declared war on the rebellious colonies in August of 1775 and prior to 1787. The first state to write its constitution was the state of New Hampshire on January 5th, 1776, and the last state to ratify its own constitution by 1787 was Massachusetts in 1780. 2 of the 13 states were still using their royal charters as their constitutions. Connecticut was using its 1662 royal charter and did not write its own constitution until 1818. Rhode Island was using its 1663 royal charter and did not write its constitution until 1843. This paper leaves out the 2 states that had royal charters, since this paper compares the constitutions that the states made and how the delegates of those conventions were impacted by the experience when writing the U.S. Constitution in 1787. Any state constitution before 1776 and after 1787 is not included. By 1787, 2 of the states were already on their second post-1775 constitutions, South Carolina in 1778 and New Hampshire in 1784. These second constitutions are in this paper and not the first ones, since these constitutions influenced the Philadelphia Convention more so than their predecessors. For example, New Hampshire's first constitution proclaimed continued loyalty to the British monarch that will never break in its preamble. That never lasted 6 months as the state joined the others in declaring independence. Because of this, the first constitution of New Hampshire will not be looked at in this paper, since the people held back their authentic design of a self-governing state in order to placate a monarch, while their second constitution is a better representation of the state's idea of a proper government. The exact state constitutions included are Virginia's, New Jersey's, Delaware's, Pennsylvania's, Maryland's, North Carolina's, all of 1776, Georgia's and New York's of 1777, South Carolina's of 1778, Massachusetts of 1780, and New Hampshire's of 1784. The states of Virginia and Delaware wrote their Bill of Rights in a separate document, but were still a part of their constitutions, and so they are included. Other states have their Bill of Rights enumerated in their constitution directly. Some, like Georgia and South Carolina, don't even have a Bill of Rights, but do have some individual rights recognized throughout their constitutions. As mentioned earlier, each state constitution is divided into 3 parts: a preamble, structure, and Bill of Rights. These state constitutions will be compared to the U.S. Constitution to show what was common among the states and what was enumerated into the federal constitution. Only one of these state constitutions is still in effect today, that being the Constitution of Massachusetts of 1780, which is older than the federal constitution. This has just been the introduction to this paper, which is linked in the description below, and I encourage you to check it out if this is an interesting topic to you. And I will be working on expanding this paper in the future, looking at how after the Federal Constitutional Convention, many of these states changed their state constitutions in order to look more like the federal constitution. So we have states influencing the federal constitution, and then you have the federal constitution influencing the state constitutions. So it's this constant reverberation between state and federal governments. I hope you found this video interesting, and I again encourage you to go to our website and read the paper yourself and check out the rest of the website. We are a 501c3 nonprofit. Any and all donations are tax exempt. You can do so on the homepage of our site, link in the description below. We encourage you to donate and support the cause. And if you want to volunteer at Amending America, then just reach out and we'll give you a job to do. So thank you again for watching, and I hope you have a nice day. Now go out there and amend America.